Recently, I ran into a post that said Kendrick Lamar wins 8 BET Hip Hop Awards, the most that anyone won in that night, and they listed off each award that he won. And I saw that, and my first reaction wasn't like, oh wow, this is amazing, like congratulations, Kendrick Lamar, you deserve it. This is great for him and his career. This has been the best year for Kendrick Lamar. My first reaction wasn't, wow, are we sure he deserved every single one? We sure we couldn't give one to like Travis Scott or Meg Thee Stallion? My reaction wasn't even, oh my gosh, they're glazing Kendrick, they're doing too much, they're just giving him these awards because of the Drake beef and Not Like Us. He's just sucking up all the attention from Not Like Us and the 15 minutes of fame. They need to stop glazing Kendrick. My first reaction was, the BET Hip Hop Awards happened? What's good, YouTube? It's Justice I Used to Be Paying. Today I'm back with another video, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the sad state of hip hop award shows. But before I get into that, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. It helps me out a ton. This past Tuesday, October 15th, the BET Hip Hop Awards took place, and I had no idea. And most of you watching this video probably had no idea at the time. Even some of you might be learning that it happened at this very moment watching this video. And I'm not the end-all be-all of rap. I'm not the golden voice of hip-hop that knows everything, and if I don't know a certain thing, then it's irrelevant or anything of the sort, but I'd like to think that I'm pretty clued in. I'd like to think that I know of these big events when they take place in hip-hop, but I genuinely had no idea that this was happening until it had already taken place, and that's a major issue. And to add on to that, the BET Hip Hop Awards took place inside of a club. The venue was a club. It wasn't an arena, wasn't a theater, wasn't even an amphitheater. It wasn't the local circus or the local state fair, a club. And to make it even worse, it was pre-recorded. It was a pre-recorded award show in 2024. Now, you could probably get away with this 10, 15 years ago, maybe. Definitely like 20, 30 years ago, but in 2024, it was a pre-recorded award show, and none of the big moments were trending on Twitter or trending on any social media site before the show actually aired. I didn't see any clips. I still really haven't seen any clips. I had to really go out on my own to find clips of the show, but like that should tell you a lot. If you're having an award show, and it's pre-recorded and nothing gets leaked, and even if the stuff did get leaked, nobody was talking about it, that's a really bad sign. It means nobody cares. Imagine if that brawl at the BET Awards happened with the Migos and all that, and it was pre-recorded. In today's era, that would have immediately been everywhere. Everyone would have already knew about it before the awards show happened, or before it aired, I should say, not happened. Imagine back in 2012 when they were giving out awards and stuff, and it was pre-recorded in today's era, back when it actually mattered. People would have been debating about all these awards and who won what and who deserved what before the show even aired, but that didn't happen. And it didn't happen because nobody cares. It's bad enough that none of the big stars really want to show up to these award shows anymore. Like, you're not really going to catch a guy who's really on fire, showing up to any of these award shows. Like, that's very rare at this point, showing up to a hip-hop award show. Like, you're not going to catch Kendrick this year showing up to the BET Awards or the BET Hip Hop Awards. It's just not going to happen. Like, gone are the days of, like, the peak Migos showing up to the award show and performing at the award show. That's just not going to happen anymore. And I understand that this was the BET Hip Hop Awards, not the BET Awards, and the BET Awards is actually the bigger event, and the Hip Hop Awards have always been the smaller, but it doesn't matter. Nobody cares about either of them. Nobody cares about the BET Awards. Nobody's arguing about who won the Rapper of the Year at the BET Awards. Nobody cares about Song of the Year. Nobody cares who won the Lyricist of the Year. There's not a whole bunch of debates taking place. People just see it, and sometimes they don't even see it, but sometimes they just see it and they just go, oh, okay, whatever, like, who cares? Nobody cares anymore. Earlier this year, we had a massive controversy in the rap community, a massive moment when Killer Mike won the Rap Album of the Year over Travis Scott at the Grammys. That was a huge deal. People were talking about it, debating it, discussing it. People were really upset. People were really happy because it was kind of like a split of like a generational thing. All the young people were like, how did Travis Scott's Utopia not win? And then all the Killer Mike fans were like, no, this was the album that should have won. You young kids don't know what you're talking about. And it was a real discourse. People were really getting into the reasons why it happened. It took place for over like a month. People talking about who should have won Rap Album of the Year. And that's because the Grammys actually do matter. Like, the awards do have weight. I know that we as a rap community understand, like, everyone knows at this point that the Grammys aren't the best source when it comes to hip hop. Everyone understands that the rap category is probably not getting the love it deserves at the Grammys, and it's probably not getting the attention it deserves at the Grammys. They're probably not going to get it right. But even still knowing that, people care. People still care enough to get into arguments. Joe Budden and Kai Cenat started beefing because of this, because of Killer Mike winning an award at the Grammys, an award that, in reality doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's just subjective, but still, it matters because people care. And people just don't care about the hip hop awards anymore. Hip hop awards no longer hold any gravity. Like, when people are listing off accomplishments, it's like, oh man, 5-time Grammy winner, triple platinum album, 5 #1 songs. Very rarely at this point are they going to bring up BET Awards. This is a problem because us as hip hop fans and rap fans understand that these traditional award shows typically don't give us the respect that we deserve. Very rarely is rap in contention for Artist of the Year, Song of the Year, Music Video of the Year, Album of the Year. That doesn't really happen too much. And we know that. So it's very important that we have our own awards as a system to reward the artists who have had major contributions to the culture in the recent history up until that award show. It's important that we do that because we know outside of our own, we might not get that respect. Typically doesn't happen. Historically, not really a big precedent for that. Even within our own specific box that they put us in and say, oh my gosh, here, take an award. Here, Rapper of the Year, here, take it. We don't even get the respect that we deserve in our own box sometimes, in our own designated space. So we need that. And of course, at the end of the day, all awards are technically meaningless because it's just made up and it's just a group of people selecting someone. It doesn't really have any strict consequences or strict rules. It's not like the NBA playoffs where you play this person, there's no technicality to it. It's just people picking. But at the end of the day, these awards matter because people care. That's really all it is. People care, so they matter. If tomorrow the BET Awards happened and there was a Rapper of the Year category and Kendrick was there, Drake was there, Ye was there, Future was there, and Kendrick wins the BET Award for Rapper of the Year, and Ye is upset and he's expressing his disappointment online and he's talking about it and saying he should have won the award, it's rigged, all this stuff, they did him wrong. Guess what? It's going to be a moment. People are going to remember that, and people are going to care about the award. They're going to sit back and say, should Ye have won the award? Or was Ye tripping? I don't know. Kendrick had a crazy year, though. I don't really know if Ye really had any real ground to stand on. That award is then going to matter because people care, because Kendrick cares, because Future cares, because everyone in the culture is caring about this thing. That award now matters. There's a reason why the moment of Cardi B winning the Grammy for Album of the Year over Travis Scott is a moment that people remember. There's a reason why Macklemore winning Album of the Year over Kendrick Lamar at the Grammys is something that people remember because it mattered. People cared. It doesn't matter if they say they did. It doesn't matter if the award is technically meaningless. People cared, so it mattered. Around 20 years ago, we lost the Source Awards, and that was really like the major hip hop awards show. But since then, we've been stuck with like the BET/BET Hip Hop Awards. And honestly, that hasn't been an entirely bad thing. There were points in the time where a BET award really did matter to the culture, specifically like the early 2000s, but even all the way up until like the mid 2010s. Like, this was a time when Beyonce showing up wasn't that crazy. Like, nowadays, that would be insane. In 2014, Pharrell, Missy Elliott, Chris Brown, Lil Wayne, Usher, Nicki Minaj, Lionel Richie, and Jay-Z and Beyonce all performed at the 2014 BET Awards. That's an insane lineup. And compare that to 2024, we got Meg Thee Stallion, Sexy Red, Will Smith, Glorilla, Lotto, Gunna, and Ice Spice. Now, those aren't like terrible names, but the star power from 10 years ago and the star power today is a massive difference. Like, there's just no denying that. Like, do you think Kendrick is going to show up to perform at the BET Awards? No. Is Nicki? Probably not. Is Future? Probably not. At this point, we're probably not even going to get like Playboy Cardi at the BET. We're not even getting like a Lil Baby at the BET Awards at this point. Like, 80% of the people that are receiving awards on that night aren't even there. There are a lot of people who probably deserve some sort of award within our culture that will never get it because they're never going to be recognized at these traditional music award shows. Right? Look at somebody like Boss Mandilo. I'm not his biggest fan. I think he's pretty solid, but the run that he's gone on for the last like year and a half, going from literally nobody to where he is today, probably deserves some sort of cultural recognition. Something. Some sort of up and comer, fastest rise, something, right? But he's never going to get that. Is he going to get that from the Grammys? No. Is he going to get that from the AMAs? No. Is he going to get that from the VMAs or whatever? No, he's not going to get that. He's never going to get an award from there. Or he's probably not. You know, maybe he does, but like at the end of the day, probably not, right? Somebody like Glorilla, the year that she's had in 2024, deserves some cultural recognition. She's completely flipped her career. Completely flipped it around. A lot of people were saying she was done in 2023. It was over for Glorilla. Sexy Red came in and replaced her. It was over. She's had a whole bunch of hits this year, and her album just sold 70K first week. She probably deserves some sort of recognition for not only flipping her career and turning it around, but pushing it further than it's ever been at this point. She's probably not going to get that from a traditional media show. I don't know. Maybe she does, but like probably not. Somebody like Travis Scott probably deserves some recognition for his performances and his crazy shows. Now, of anybody I've mentioned so far, he's the most likely to get it. But even still, he might not. He might not. Somebody like NBA YoungBoy, probably not going to win too many awards from traditional award sources. Probably never going to get a Grammy. Oh, wait, no, he already did. He did get a Grammy, I think. He did get a Grammy. I take that back. I'm pretty sure he got a Grammy for the song he did with Tyler, the Creator. I think. But I might be wrong. Either way, he's not going to get a whole bunch of recognition from the Grammys, the VMAs, the AMAs, whatever you want to call them. He's not going to get a whole bunch of awards. And I think that's crazy. I think that he deserves some awards. Or at least he has in the past. There's no way he didn't get an award for what he was doing in 2021. He was going crazy that year. But he's probably not going to get recognized too much at these traditional media sources, these traditional media award shows. That's why we need our own. The importance of the recognition of rappers via awards that actually matter culturally is really important because it gives us, real hip hop fans, real people that enjoy rap and hip hop culture, more control over our own culture, because we really do need a lot of that. Because oftentimes when award shows reward rappers and things in rap, oftentimes they're doing it with an agenda behind it, or they're just doing it and they're really out of touch with what people actually in the culture are really listening to and really want to hear. With our own award show, we might be able to control the market a little bit. And again, we can give recognition to people who probably will never get that much recognition outside of our own media sources, outside of our own award shows. Like somebody like Young Thug, probably not going to win a billion awards outside of hip hop spaces. But if we can reward him in a way that actually matters to the culture, then that can make up for whatever they're doing outside, because it doesn't matter. And also at the same time, we can, to a certain extent, push back on some of the stuff that's being pushed down our throats. Pause. Like, you know how it goes in the industry. Certain things get really, really pushed heavily on us. And if we as a culture see these things getting pushed on us and we don't reward it with an award or with awards or with recognition, it's not going to necessarily derail that thing, but it can show that, hey, we're not really messing with that, for the most part at least. It can at least reflect the fact that we're not really feeling it. Now, of course, somebody can always infiltrate what we're doing and put, stuff in there and then put the people that they're pushing. But at the end of the day, you get what I'm saying. We could have a little bit more pushback against the stuff that's just blatantly being ran down our throat without our consent. All right, no Diddy in the consent actual section, not the pause part, but the consent part. And also at the same time, we can stop stuff like the Tommy Richmond thing. The dude that made $1 Million Baby, literally just a couple weeks ago, he came out and said, I'm not a hip hop artist. Then he backtracked and said, oh, well, I was just trying to say that I'm not just a hip hop artist. And now he's submitting $1 Million Baby for Grammy nominations in rap categories. That type of stuff, we can say no. You're not doing it. You just said you didn't want to be a rap artist. You're not hip hop, so go over there. You don't want to be with us? Cool, that's fine. But you don't get to submit yourself for our awards if you don't want to be with us. We can stop stuff like that from happening, or at least be a little bit more preventative. With our own award show that was actually culturally relevant, we would not have to look outward for validation. We wouldn't have to beg the Grammys every year to finally get it right. We wouldn't have to beg people who don't care about or care to learn about our culture to get it right. Nicki Minaj does not have a single Grammy award. Now, I don't care what you think about Nicki. You can have your own opinions. she's up, she's down. I get it. But the fact that she doesn't have a single Grammy, come on. Like, not one. Not one. From 2010 until now, not one. That's a little bit ridiculous, don't you think? That's a sign of maybe not being in touch with what's going on within the culture. I'm not saying she needs 27 Grammys, but come on now. It's Nicki Minaj. No matter what you feel about her, she at least deserves probably a couple Grammys at this point, right? But she doesn't have that yet. And that's a greater sign that, hey, we probably need to do our own things and make them matter again. And that's not to say that if the rap and hip hop community came together and made our awards matter again, we'd never get it wrong again. That's not what I'm saying, because of course awards are going to go to the wrong winner sometimes. That's just how it works. It's subjective. It's not a objective thing. He was definitely better than him. It's an award at the end of the day. It's an opinion. But it's a lot easier to process and to accept when it comes from within than when it comes from people out there who honestly just don't care about what's going on. If us as a people, as a hip hop community, say, okay, that was probably the wrong one, or there's a generational divide between old heads and young fans, then that's fine. That's cool. I can take that, right? If Kendrick wins Rapper of the Year and all the young kids are like, nah, man, it should have been Cardi, and there's a beef between the old heads and young people online for the next couple weeks, like there was with Joe Budden and Kai Cenat, I think that's a lot more acceptable. And I think that again would place even more importance on these awards and make them even more valuable and mean that much more when it's placed on somebody's resume. It can mean that much more when a cultural award is argued over like it's a Grammy. That would make things a lot better in my opinion. Again, people will get things wrong. We'll give it to the wrong person this year. Somebody else will get it. It'll be debates, but I think that that's extremely healthy, and that's what hip hop really needs more of at the moment. Now, I can't lie, though. The hip-hop/rap award space is completely dead at this point. It's cooked. It's fried. It's over. All right. And in my opinion, I think the BET/BET Hip-Hop Awards should just combine. Just get rid of the BET Hip-Hop Awards, because having it at a club is just kind of embarrassing. Like, who cares to do two of them anymore? It's not that important. Just combine them into one. And in terms of what they need to do for relevancy, I'm not going to lie, it sounds kind of crazy, but they got to tap into the youth like everyone else does. And they low-key might need to send the bat signal out for this man. I know it sounds corny, but honestly, just let Kai Cenat and or Drewski host the BET Hip Hop Awards or the BET Awards at this point. Honestly, what is there to lose? In terms of relevancy, what is there to lose at this point? It's all gone. Nobody cares anymore. I know it sounds corny and it sounds goofy, but there's no coincidence that Kai Cenat is as big as he is. Sorry, it's not. You can't convince me that it's a coincidence. So why not tap into it? Why not throw Kai Cenat out there? It's no coincidence that he's gotten Lil Baby, Nicki Minaj, John Cena, Kevin Hart, and whoever else to show up in his bedroom for a stream. His bedroom. Not at a studio, not out and about IRL. He got these people to show up to his bed. He got Nicki Minaj to show up to his bedroom. That should show you the type of clout and relevancy that Kai Cenat has. And I guarantee if he was hosting the BET Awards or had his own hip-hop award show, whatever, I guarantee you a lot more people would be a little bit tuned in. I guarantee you that some of these rappers that weren't showing up might start to trickle in a little bit if Kai Cenat's there. I'm not even trying to be funny. So, as ridiculous as it may sound, honestly, let Kai Cenat host the BET Awards, because there's nothing to lose at this point. You have no relevancy. At least give it to somebody who people are going to be talking about it if Kai Cenat's there. People might make jokes. They might make fun of it. Look how far the BET Awards have fallen, but I guarantee you it'll be the most talked about BET Awards in years. Or maybe like he should do his own BET Awards or his own hip-hop awards or something like that. Or, hear me out, some of these rappers should start showing up. Some of these rappers should start showing up. I'm not saying every big rapper has to. When's the last time Drake's been at the BET Awards? Like 2011? Imagine if this year Kendrick Lamar showed up to the BET Awards and performed. Imagine how big that would be. It would have been crazy. Everyone would have been talking about it. It would have been viral. It would have been a movie. It would have been everywhere. Everyone would have been talking about it. That Kendrick Lamar was at the BET. Oh my gosh. You see Kendrick? Oh my gosh. Kendrick and like one other person would have turned it from a graveyard of despair and nobody caring to the biggest event in hip hop. So it's really as simple as some of these rappers really showing up again. But at this point, why would they? Because nobody cares. It's not the Grammys. Why would they show up? But That's going to be the end of my video. If you agree, if you disagree, I greatly, greatly appreciate it if you let me know down below in the comments. I go by the name of Pay. Yeah, make sure you leave a subscribe, do all those things. It helps me out a ton. I hope you have a good day. Peace.